Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
Liberty Counsel Action has demanded that the Secretary of the Army apologize, rescind, and investigate the situation regarding the training where Catholics and Christians are listed as religious extremists. Hi, I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, on behalf of 750,000 members of Liberty Counsel Action, we've now sent a letter to every person in the House asking that the Secretary of the Army rescind, investigate, and really apologize for labeling Christians, evangelical Christians, and Roman Catholics as religious extremists in a training program that was put on at a reserve facility. This is outrageous.
Matt, you know, this is about the fourth instance just in the last couple, 3 years where the federal government or the military, 3 out of the 4 of the U.S. military, have attacked Christians, have attacked evangelicals, Catholics, and others as extremists, people who are pro-life, people who believe in the Second Amendment, who want to see a smaller centralized government and so forth. And this is all stemming from the Southern Poverty Law Center's propaganda. But you're absolutely right. You know, we're starting to see a pattern here. Any one of these instances in an isolated, in a vacuum, would be very troubling. But now that we're seeing a pattern and practice from this Obama administration of labeling mainstream Christians and Catholics as religious extremists, this is very troubling indeed.
It is very troubling. In fact, what we now have here is a PowerPoint presentation that was given to a Naval Reserve or a military reserve group. And how we found out about it is some of the people that were there getting the training ultimately went up to the person who was doing the presentation and asked if he could have a copy of the slide presentation. And the slide presentation was given to that military individual, and that military individual then revealed this to the public because that individual was an evangelical Christian and was highly offended when the slide came up and it listed religious extremists. And the number one religious extremists were evangelical Christians. They also listed Roman Catholics as religious extremists, Mormons as religious extremists, right alongside of Al-Qaeda. And in fact, not even alongside of Al-Qaeda and Hamas, but before them. The number one, the very first line was evangelical Christians, and then Al-Qaeda and Hamas came later. Yeah,
this is a practice the Southern Poverty Law Center has employed, and that now the military, liberals within this Obama administration are employing, where they juxtapose mainstream Christians with violent extremists like Al-Qaeda, like the Aryan Nation, the Aryan Brotherhood, and others. And you know, it's so disingenuous. It's false guilt by false association, and it's attempt to marginalize people who have mainstream political viewpoints with which they disagree. It's not even subtle, but unfortunately there are many people that are susceptible to this kind of propaganda, and it's dangerous propaganda because what they're doing is dehumanizing people like the 750+ thousand members of Liberty Counsel Action.
Well, we have sent this letter to every member, every Congress. We signed on to Congressman Lamborn's letter. Congressman Lamborn is the one who has demanded this, and this has then been sent to the members of the House. Congressman Lamborn is demanding the Secretary of the Army to rescind, apologize, and investigate a briefing that labeled evangelical Christians and Catholics as religious extremists. This is very troubling because, for example, the soldiers are prohibited from the following actions in support of extremist organizations. This is protocol. If there is an extremist organization, soldiers have a certain protocol, and they are not allowed to do certain things with respect to these religious or these extremist organizations. One is they cannot participate in a public demonstration or rally. Yeah. They can't attend a meeting or activity with knowledge that the meeting or activity involves an extremist cause. So if there's an extremist group, they can't attend that meeting. Now, that sounds reasonable. You wouldn't want the military person to be associated with an extremist group, some violent group that's designed to overthrow the government, some skinhead group that is designed to inflict hatred, particularly violence, against someone because they're Jew or because they're black. Obviously, you wouldn't want your military people associating with that. You wouldn't want police officers associating with that.
Of course not.
But then when they redefine what extremist groups are, that's when it becomes problematic. When they put in the category of an extremist group, those which are not extremist, that's where this problem ultimately arises.
Okay, so they label by name in an email one Lieutenant Colonel Jack Rich. This is a separate instance, emailed to 3 dozen subordinates at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. He listed the American Family Association, a mainstream Christian organization, and the Family Research Council in Washington, D.C., another mainstream Christian organization, as domestic hate groups, and said that any enlisted personnel or people who are under these subordinates, that they need to watch them, keep an eye on them because they're affiliated with extremist groups. Matt, we have the Awakening coming up beginning tomorrow, in fact, and under these guidelines, under these prohibitions, military personnel would be prohibited from even attending the Awakening. They would be prohibited from emailing or distributing, quote, literature on or off a military installation that came from Liberty Counsel, came from Family Research Council. This is censorship.
Yeah, they could not, for example, distribute information. What we have at the Awakening, it's tomorrow, April 19, and then 20, Friday night and Saturday. And if you still have an opportunity, we would encourage you to go there. You can register at lc.org. That's lc.org. Just go to the website, click on the Awakening icon, and you can register right there. And come to the Awakening. It's an amazing event. Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin, who is one of the original founders of the Delta Force, and also at one time in charge of all the Green Berets, is a very solid patriot, someone who's fought for this country, who was injured seriously for this country, who's a person who loves the Lord. He actually now works with Family Research Council,
right?
This extremist organization. And this particular policy, where the training on the military facility says that these organizations, religious extremists, include evangelicals, and then this letter, the 14-page letter with this person from the military, I think he was a lieutenant colonel.
That's right,
Lieutenant Colonel Rich. Wrote this email.
Jack Rich, Lieutenant Colonel Jack Rich.
On 14 pages early on, classified Family Research Council and AFA, American Family Association, as extremist organizations.
And as hate groups. And where does that come from?
So that means that if you have a hate group, if you have an extremist group, you can't associate with them if you're part of the military. Yeah. And this is just absurd what's happening in under this administration, and it comes really from the top, because this administration could put a stop to it. They could say, this is ridiculous. Every branch that has done this needs to apologize. They need to back off. They need to disassociate with the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yeah, it's frightening. It's Marxist in its application. They're simply trying. It's politically motivated. Again, trying to marginalize people with whom they disagree. General Boykin has decried publicly what has happened to his military. And Matt, we warned of this type of activity leading up to the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell and the homosexualization of the United States military. And a big part of the issue in this email was talking about how these groups are anti-gay. These are anti-gay hate groups, again, stemming back to the Southern Poverty Law Center.
And that's what this Lieutenant Colonel Jack Rich in this email.
Exactly.
Just so you're not confused, there are several situations that have happened over the period of the last several years. There's the Department of Homeland Security report in 2009. There's the West Point for the Center for Terrorism in 2012. There is the PowerPoint presentation that we were talking about in 2013, I believe. And then there's this 14-page letter or email from this lieutenant colonel, all of them saying the same things. Well, Liberty Counsel Action has signed on to the letter, and Congressman Lamborn demanded an investigation and demanded an apology. I encourage you to come to the Awakening. The Awakening is a fantastic event. Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin will be there. Pam Geller, who is with Atlas Shrugs, a specialist, an expert in radical Islam, and many others will be there as well. It'll be an amazing event beginning Friday night, April 19, and going on through Saturday up to 5:30. You can go to lc.org for more information. Sign on. If you can't come, notify your friends who are in the area and have them come as well. This will be a life-changing event to fight for the soul of America. That's the theme of the Awakening 2013.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.